A shadow loomed across the Caribbean, flying a black flag and sparking fear with a single name: Blackbeard. Was he truly the most feared pirate in history? Or was he just a master of psychological warfare? They say he braided fuses into his beard. They say he captured entire fleets. But how much of it is true? The real story is more unbelievable than the myth. Let's dive into the stormy waters of truth and legend. Pirates have always fascinated us, romanticized in movies, songs, and folklore. But the Golden Age of Piracy, roughly from 1650 to 1730, was anything but romantic. It was brutal, it was lawless, and one name still echoes louder than all the rest: Edward Teach, better known as Blackbeard. To understand Blackbeard, we have to understand the world he came from. The late 17th century was a time of colonial expansion, trade monopolies, and endless wars. The seas were packed with merchant ships moving gold, spices, slaves, and sugar between Europe, Africa, and the Americas. But with fortune came opportunity for theft. Piracy didn't just emerge from greed. It was a response to power imbalances. When navies demobilized sailors after wars, thousands were left jobless, but trained for combat. The Caribbean became a pirate playground. Nassau, in the Bahamas, became the unofficial pirate capital, a haven for outlaws, a republic of thieves. And it's in this crucible of chaos that a man named Edward Teach would forge his legend. Not much is known about his early life. He was likely born in Bristol, England, sometime around 1680. He may have served as a privateer during Queen Anne's War, attacking Spanish ships under legal commission. But after the war, many privateers kept pirating without permission, and so did Edward Teach. By 1716, Edward Teach was under the command of the pirate Benjamin Hornigold, a well-known captain based in Nassau. Hornigold saw something in him and gave Teach command of his own vessel. From there, the transformation began. Edward Teach became Blackbeard. He didn't just want to be another pirate. He wanted to be the symbol of fear, and he crafted that image carefully. He wore a long, dark coat, multiple pistols strapped across his chest, and, most famously, slow-burning fuses woven into his beard, which he'd light before battle. Imagine it, a towering man with smoke curling from his face, eyes wild, guns loaded, sailing straight toward you with a Jolly Roger flying high. It worked. Blackbeard often won battles without firing a single shot. His image was his most powerful weapon. In 1717, he captured a massive French slave ship and renamed it Queen Anne's Revenge. With 40 cannons and 300 men, it was a floating fortress. Blackbeard now commanded one of the most powerful pirate ships in the Western Hemisphere. Blackbeard's reputation grew not just from brutality, but from brilliant strategy. Despite his fearsome look, there's little evidence he was needlessly violent. He preferred intimidation over bloodshed. One of his most famous exploits was the blockade of Charleston, South Carolina, in 1718. He held the entire port hostage for a week, demanding a chest of medicine. No one was harmed, no ships were sunk, and when he got what he wanted, he left. It was a power move, a statement. But his enemies didn't see genius. They saw a threat to commerce and empire. In response, the governor of Virginia, Alexander Spotswood, sent a covert mission to end Blackbeard's reign. Led by Lieutenant Robert Maynard, 2 small British ships tracked Blackbeard to Ocracoke Island, off the coast of North Carolina. On November 22, 1718, they attacked. What followed was one of the most dramatic duels in pirate history. Maynard lured Blackbeard into boarding, only to spring a trap. The fight went hand to hand. Blackbeard was said to have been shot 5 times and stabbed over 20 before he finally fell, and even in death, his legend grew. Maynard ordered Blackbeard's head cut off and hung from the bow of his ship as a warning to others. So, who was Edward Teach really? A demon of the seas or a brilliant illusionist? Let's break down the legend. Myth: he was excessively violent and bloodthirsty. Truth: he cultivated fear to avoid violence. Most accounts say he treated prisoners well and rarely harmed civilians. Myth: he buried treasure. Truth: there's no historical record of Blackbeard hiding treasure. He spent or traded most of his spoils. Myth: he ruled a pirate empire. Truth: he was feared and respected, but he wasn't a king. Pirate crews voted on leadership and decisions. Myth: he had 14 wives. Truth: possibly exaggerated. One marriage is documented in North Carolina, but the others may be legend. Myth: he was uneducated and barbaric. Truth: many reports suggest he was intelligent, charismatic, and even polite when off duty. So why the exaggerations? Because Blackbeard became more than a man. He became a myth, shaped by the people who wanted to sell newspapers, justify crackdowns, or entertain crowds. And like all myths, his story was polished with time, darkened, twisted, made bigger than life. 300 years later, Blackbeard still commands attention. His story has inspired movies, games, novels, theme park rides, and countless YouTube rabbit holes. Why? Because he wasn't just a pirate. He was a strategist, a performer, and a symbol of rebellion against empire, law, and control. Blackbeard understood something most never learn: that sometimes reputation is stronger than the sword. And while the truth may be less bloody than legend, it's every bit as fascinating. If you found this story gripping, subscribe for more epic tales from history, where myth and reality collide, and every story reveals a hidden truth.